First at 6, the case against a handyman charged with murder in Bloomfield Township.
We are learning a lot more about the evidence against Bart Spencer, including his own incriminating words.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kurtzner joins us live tonight with details. And Jim, what did he say?
This defendant, Spencer, gave police a 2-hour statement just 5 days after the murder. He said he was doing a drywall repair job when the customer complained, so he hit him. Not with his drywall tool, but the tool in his other hand, a hammer.
Mr. Whitelaw had jumped up out of the couch, touched Mr. Spencer. Mr. Spencer spun around. He had a hammer in his right hand, swung and hit Mr. Whitelaw in the temple.
Spencer, in his statement, said he panicked and came up with cover-up stories. One he called overkill.
With the overkill where he struck additional times on the back of the head, trying to implicate the son as being the responsible party.
Spencer told police he also carried out another plan he called an assassination, cutting gas lines, running into the living room fireplace, and lighting candles on the table nearby so the condo would explode. And there was this third component.
So he grabbed what he called a wire, what looks like a phone cord, what he later described, that was nearby, and used that to strangle Mr. Whitelaw.
Is that complete and accurate? The victim is 77-year-old William Whitelaw. The medical examiner testified he'd been hit in the head 16 times, but also had fractures around his right wrist and 2 broken fingers, consistent with fighting back. And that cord around the neck, there's much more.
All of this is consistent with holding an attempt to hold Mr. Whitelaw's head steady while he was beaten.
And the doctor testified Mr. Whitelaw's death was not instant.
There was evidence that Mr. Whitelaw at least took a breath or two and drew some blood into his lungs as a result of the skull trauma.
Spencer admitted to taking Rolex watches, jewelry, and several other valuables that turned up at pawn shops starting the afternoon of the murder. The son of the victim did not want his face shown on TV. He found his dad in the condo filled with gas and those candles burning. There was no explosion, but plenty of emotion.
My daughter heard me yell.
Spencer is now bound over on several charges. The top of the list, open murder, and it'll be up to a jury to decide if it's premeditated, and if found guilty of that, he would do automatic life without parole. Carolyn, Stephen?
Jim, quick question for you. Did Spencer have a violent past?
He does. 2 prior armed robberies, including a bank robbery in Ohio more than a decade ago. He did time. In 2012, he was put on a supervised release by the feds to come back to Michigan. Court records also show he had some mental issues, had a tough time trying to find a job.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Jim, for the live report.